Hey guys, John here from Sonograph Studio. I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to check out a brand new guitar amp modeling plugin by ML Sound Lab, Amped Fluff 2C. It's actually a really cool plugin that is based on the Mesa Boogie Mark series amps. There aren't many plugins out there that do these amplifiers, so this is pretty exciting. Let's just dive in and start by taking a listen to a clip that I made with this plugin using my ESP LTD NW44 guitar straight into the plugin. And let's just see how awesome this plugin sounds. Here we go. Alright, that sounded pretty good, right? At least I think that it sounded great. And the preset was very simple and it was a tone that I dialed in a couple of minutes. It's just the Fluff 2C lead amp model that I tweaked a little bit to sound good in this mix, and the same for the built-in cab sim, and I think I used the traditional cabinet there. Now the Mesa Boogie Mark series amps are very well known, of course. They are quite legendary. Bands like Metallica and Dream Theater use them, of course. Unless you've been living under a rock. But I think that everyone who's watching this video is familiar with these amplifiers. You can dial these amps in to sound very crunchy and tight, which is the main sound that they're known for. That's why a lot of metal and rock guitarists like to use these amplifiers. But they're also quite versatile. You can get great crunch tones out of them as well. And they don't have to sound tight. They can also sound big and bold. And you can really dive in and shape the tone of these amplifiers even further than with the standard pots with the built-in graphical EQs. But the real versions of these amplifiers can be a little bit hard to get dialed in right, with all the controls, all the push-pull functions that they have, and of course the graphical EQ. But the ML Sound Lab Amped Fluff 2C is very easy to dial in, which was a nice surprise. You just load it onto your guitar track, and perhaps with a couple of tweaks, you've already got a very solid tone. Now in real life, the graphical EQ can be a little bit finicky with the 5 sliders, but with this plugin, the default setting already is very nice. So I didn't even touch the graphical EQ, to be honest. And the overall layout of the entire plugin is just very straightforward and to the point, so it's very easy to use as well. Now, according to ML Sound Lab, there's a little bit of mystery behind what this plugin is based on. It's a combination of all things Mesa Boogie Mark 2C Plus circuit, basically. I guess they just wanted to make an idealized version of the 2C Plus with all the good stuff and without all the stuff that you don't need, basically. So this plugin has 3 amps. We've got the lead, the shred, and the clean amp. The lead amp is your main bread and butter, basically. Great for leads, for crunch, and for rhythm tones. And then we have the shred mode, which is based on the shred mode on the John Petrucci Mesa Boogie amplifier. It basically adds some nice mid-range cut, and that works really well for down-tuned guitars and baritone guitars and all that stuff. And the clean amplifier does what it says on the tin. Now for the intro track, I just started with a basic preset and tweaked a little bit from there. Now with these types of amplifiers, you get the tightest tone by lowering the bass. So I lowered that quite a bit, almost to 0. And I also turned down the mids completely. And by raising the treble, you get more gain and more clarity, obviously. So that's also what I did. So these settings may seem a little bit odd if you're used to different types of amplifiers, but for these amplifiers, these very extreme settings work quite well. And then you can use the presence control to dial in the overall amount of brightness and or with the graphic EQ. And that scooped V on the graphical equalizer also really helps with this type of tone, because these amps without the EQ are very honky and they have a lot of mids. So this scoop may seem very extreme, but in fact it makes it sound very balanced, to be honest. The bright switch is also very handy if you want a much brighter tone, but for this intro track I turned it off just to make it sound a little bit more balanced for this track. In the cab section I also made some tweaks. In the cab section you've got two cabs basically. One is based on a Mesa Boogie traditional 4x12 cabinet with V30s, and the other is based on an oversized rectifier cabinet, also a 4x12 with V30s. You've got a couple of mics to choose from, and of course you can also load in your own impulse responses, but for the purpose of this video I'm just going to stick with the built-in cabinets. And for the first tone I just used a blend between a 121 and a 57 mic, which is what I basically always do. There's also a very cool pedal board feature in this plugin with a bunch of cool pedals, like a gate, a compressor, a drive, a chorus, a delay, and a reverb. And those all sound really good, so that's a nice addition. Now let's take a listen to a clean track with a bunch of those pedals on, using my Gibson Les Paul Custom on the bridge pickup. And I'm going to use the clean amplifier model this time with the default cabinet setting, so no changes there. Okay, let's go ahead and take a listen. Cool! Nice and lush sounding. And again, this preset was quite simple. Just the clean amp with some very basic settings. I didn't make a lot of tweaks in the amplifier block itself. And of course, in the effects section, I did use the compressor, the chorus, the delay, and the reverb to make it sound lush and ambient. What else can I say? I mean, this plugin is just very effective and it's so easy to use. It's kind of crazy actually. But let's be honest, when it sounds this good, you don't really need those extra features. I also want to see how this plugin sounds with a baritone guitar and with active pickups. So we're going to check out some riffs with my ESP LTD EC401B, the Baritone Eclipse. And this time I want to try the shred amplifier since that works well with downtuned guitars. All right, so let's go ahead and take a listen to that right now. right, again, that sounded huge. What a great tone. So, what do you guys think of this plugin? Let me know in the comments down below. I honestly think that it's great. Again, I'm just repeating myself here, but it sounds great and it's also very easy to use and easy to dial in. I think that it's definitely an authentic sounding plugin, so I recommend checking it out. That's all for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons down below along with the notification bell, as that helps to keep you up to date and it really helps me out. It helps the channel out, so thank you so much for doing that. And you can also follow Sonic Drive Studio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you guys so much and I hope to see you soon. Cheers!